We're going to send that summary to Dave at Nestle, and he'll be posting that on the website. You can continue to send Dave comments about the proposed project. If you want your comments included in the summary of tonight's meeting, we'll need to receive them by the end of next week. So that is our process for this evening. Our outcomes: a presentation to provide you information about a proposed project, and then your opportunity to comment. So with that, I'd like to introduce Dave Pillay from Nestle, and he'll be giving a presentation.
Thank you, Joan. How are the acoustics this time? People can hear us this time? Good. Very happy to hear that. Well, thank you all for showing up, and thankfully the weather has been a little bit better. As Joan said, my name is Dave Pillay. I'm with Nestle Waters. From our Greenwich headquarters, Brendan O'Rourke, who is our National Director of Natural Resources, has come in as well, and will both be answering questions after this very brief presentation. If it goes 15 minutes, it will have gone too long. Brendan, can you get some lights? Okay. I believe you all have copies of the presentation as well that were part of the packets and the handout. So if you're having trouble seeing something up here, you'll have it as a takeaway as well. And I will try to work with a laser pointer to make sure that I'm able to point things out. So as far as introductions, what the purpose of this meeting is for us to provide to the community our concepts at this time of what we're looking at for our revised project proposal. One of the things we were criticized about early on in the previous project, in the larger scale project, was that we hadn't come out early enough to provide the community a description and a concept of what we were hoping to do. So that is the purpose of this meeting, is to just give you an idea of what we're thinking about. We scaled back. We announced that we were scaling back the project last summer, and this purpose of this is to give you a little more detail around what that is. This is not a presentation on what we're asking or looking to do with the district. This is strictly bricks and mortar, what we're talking about on the property as far as the bottling plant. The difference is that we're not at this point, we're not talking about negotiations or anything to do with an arrangement directly with the district. This is, if we are able to come up with some sort of an arrangement with the district, this is what the bottling plant would look like. So we've had the introductions. Joan's given a little bit about the meeting overview. These are the major points in the revised project. These are the major components about the bottling plant. The maximum size of the proposed plant will be 350,000 square feet. The water use, maximum water use, is proposed to be 600 acre-feet annually at a rate not to exceed 600 gallons per minute. And again, there was some confusion in the earlier project on what the different numbers were, what we had with the previous contract. What this means is, on an annual basis, we would not be able to use more than 600 acre-feet. At any one instant, we could not be using any more than 600 gallons a minute. The number of jobs for this size of a plant would be approximately 100 jobs at the full build-out. And again, some feedback that we have taken from the original project and from a lot of the discussion over the last few years is no groundwater wells. Specifically for a comparison, in the original project and the original contract with the district, we had a cap of 1,600 acre-feet. That compares to what we're proposing now that this bottling plant would use, up to 600 acre-feet. So it's a reduction of 1,000 acre-feet. The instantaneous, or at any one moment, was in the previous project for the previous plant was capped at 1,250 gallons a minute. This one would be capped at 600 gallons a minute. In the previous project, if the plant had requested a groundwater well, that would be owned by the McCloud Community Services District if Nestle requested it. In this project, there will be no groundwater wells. The truck traffic. Average truck traffic in the previous project was 200 trucks a day. The maximum was 300. In this project, these are the numbers: 110 on average, 200 maximum. Employees, previous project would have employed up to 240 employees, direct Nestle employees. This project would, this size plant would accommodate up to 100 employees. The building size comparison is greater than a 60% reduction from 1 million square feet down to 350,000 square feet. And in the original project, we proposed to have to be able to use some of the water from either of the 3 springs. In this this project, we're only proposing that we consider either Upper or Lower Elk Springs. This was the layout of the original project, the originally proposed 1 million square foot plant. Here's the property boundary of the mill around here. And what we're proposing, we've got 2 suggested or proposed options for the layout of the smaller building, the 350,000 square foot building. One option that we're proposing or suggesting is this one, option A, which has the building aligned in a northwest southeast alignment. The truck bays where the trucks would be coming in are up here. Employee and visitor parking would be over here. An alternative to that layout would be one where the building is aligned in a more north-south orientation, but again, the truck bays being aligned on the west side, primarily meant to shield the truck noise using the building from all the residences over on this side of the mill. The truck traffic route remains unchanged. We have an easement that allows us access to a private road that goes around town. This will be something that will be written in, since all of our drivers, our truck drivers, are contract drivers. This will be written in their contracts that they must use this access road, that there will be no access to the plant through the town as far as truck traffic. That's it. That's the presentation. We are looking for continued feedback. Remember again, the point of this meeting is to get some feedback. We want to come out early with what we're thinking conceptually, receive feedback from people, and as necessary and as we can, if we have to modify those proposals, we will, and come back and show those modifications. We're in the process of doing a 2-year watershed and habitat study in Squaw Valley Creek that was started back in October of 2008. That will be going through October of 2010. We'll talk about this at the end of the meeting as far as really what's next, but the next meeting we would like to suggest that the subject of that meeting be specifically focusing on the watershed and habitat studies, and we'll bring in the scientists that are conducting it, and have some discussion, have them give a presentation of exactly what that study is, how the scope of work was developed, what some of their current or their early data has been. We'll share that with the community and be able to answer people's questions about those studies. Formal CEQA and NEPA process. There is no NEPA or CEQA process that has started yet. We have not filed any paperwork for any formal notice of preparation of an EIR. That's too early. We're still, again, we want to be receiving feedback on the project. We want to be able to adjust the project accordingly so that by the time we are ready to begin that process, we'll have gone through some community feedback and received some community feedback. And then continued discussions with the MCSD board and with the community. Our contact information, we have a toll-free number for you to contact. We have an email address, and we have a new website that's up within the last week, McCloud.NestleWatersCA.com. All of those are ways that you can get in touch with us and get your feedback to us. And you have Joan Chaplick's address and fax, especially over the next week, to provide any comments that you either don't feel comfortable presenting tonight or that you may think of after the fact. Joan?
Hello? Okay, with that, we'd like to open it up for questions. And again, I know there are a lot of comments, and I'm sure you have many questions. And just to, we'll just start here, and I'm just going to manage the conversation by going around the room and to the back. So if you're on this side, you don't have to keep your hand up. I'll be coming around. If you're up front and you come up with another question, I will continue to go around and circle around the room until we've heard from all of you this evening. In terms of some basic